Okay, so this is the first area that we did. It's a south-facing slope, and it's a particularly difficult sort of area because south-facing slopes are so dry, and we needed to wait for the roots to grow enough to pull water up from the moist area down to the drainage at the very bottom. And finally now it is, and the plants look nice and green. And you can see maybe at this angle, you see a lot of the bug life that's here.
Oh yeah.
So that's all backlit. That's one of the best things about a native landscape is that there's so much life here. So many bugs, not the ones that bother people, but so many bugs that are interacting with the environment, and then with that comes so many birds and other animals.
Awesome.
Here's
Let's walk in your garden.
a little a golden bush. Grew from a seed. Sages. There's a little butterfly. See, I think that's a Yuma skipper. So it only eats. I think it eats some of the native grasses that I planted. But it's great to see these little butterflies that you'll only see in natural areas. So it kind of shows that nature is really working. It's kind of the driest part of the year, so you don't see any beautiful penstemon flowers, but these are called spectacular penstemons because normally they're spectacular when they're flowering. And that's a snakeweed that grew from a seed. They grew from seeds.
Wow, look at this beauty.
Yeah, it's really pretty, isn't it? It's really,
Yeah.
It's just a weed, but it's quite beautiful. And this is California Fuchsia, also grown volunteers from seeds. There's not a whole lot of California natives that flower during the summer, but this is one of them. Really pretty light gray foliage. And the big berry manzanita. So this is sort of interesting because this manzanita and that manzanita were grown at the same time. And this one naturally belongs here. And this one really belongs about 3,000 feet higher in elevation. It doesn't quite belong here. And so it just shows how if you plant the plants that naturally belong here, they'll do much, much better than the ones that really don't belong here.
Here you go.
And it's a pretty plant, but it just doesn't make sense for plants that...
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to plant a native that isn't native to your location. This is a Ceanothus leucodermis, a really beautiful plant that's covered with purple flowers during the winter. And it is very deep rooted, so it'll bring a lot of moisture up from the wetter area we're going down here and share it with the drier soil plants. Toyon, a fig that grew from nowhere. I don't know where that came from, not native.
Wow.
The rats eat all the figs before we get a chance to eat them, so. And this is Oregon grape. Beautiful yellow flowers in the winter.
So how come that you learn so many plants? Is that through experience, like planting and then dying and then planting again and learning it?
Well, I learned them mostly mountain biking. I got to the point where I wanted to identify the plants that I was riding past. So if I ever saw a plant I didn't know, I would take a picture of it and then go do some research and find out what it was. So I got a little compulsive about learning the names of all the plants that I rode by, and learned a lot of plants. So for me it was learning about nature from mountain biking first, and then after that trying to garden to bring these plants in. These are some of my favorites. They're kind of slow growing, but they're so tough. It's called bush rue, and you can see some of the berries are left. It's yellowish orange berries in the winter, and then they turn black now. They're a beautiful, beautiful plant. And chemise. This is California Sumac. Also, these roots can go down 40 feet. So it's one of the deepest rooted of all the different shrubs, and they share a lot of water with surface plants, surface root plants.
Oh, we good?
And this is kind of the bottom of the there's a little creek, really it's a little creek, and it it gets some runoff from neighbors, but it also is during the winter it flows a little bit all the time, and so there's really quite a bit of moisture down here. And so I planted a lot of. I got rid of the palms and other invasive plants that were down here, and now it's all natural native plants, riparian native plants. And so willows, and there's a red willow and a arroyo willow, box elder, sycamore, cottonwood. So great riparian plants, and they're so important for nature. That there's so many butterflies and other insects and birds that are attracted. So it's a great way to bring a lot of life. And they also, this is where a lot of the water comes from. So the plants here are basically pulling moisture up from this wet area, and they're pulling it all up here. So I don't need to water them, which is dangerous for California natives in the summer. That they get their water
from the
way
creek.
nature intended, from a natural water source.
That's amazing. I wish more landscape architects would understand that principle. Instead of
I think biomimicry is becoming an important thing in a lot of fields. So I think there's a lot of room for landscape architects and gardeners to employ biomimicry in their own garden design and maintenance. This is a beautiful plant. It's one of my very famous favorites. It's a Xylococcus bicolor, a mission manzanita. These plants can live hundreds of years, because whenever there's a fire, they just burn down to the ground, but they come back again.
Because of the whole root system and energy
Yeah,
underneath the soil.
A basal burrow, so huge root systems, and then they just resprout from the roots. They're evolved to coexist with fire in Southern California. This is Bramblett Posea, a spiny redberry. It's the only known host plant for Hermes copper. Is it Hermes? Basically the Hermes butterfly, which is an endangered butterfly. It's only in kind of this part of San Diego County. And so if there's none of these plants around, then that butterfly will go extinct. So that's why I planted a lot of these spiny redberries. Scrub oaks, right here, really important ecological plant. Also, it can have roots that are down almost 100 feet. No, that's not right, 40 feet. And then here, these chalk dudleas are really fascinating plants. See, hummingbirds all winter will be at these flowers. Now they're going to seeds. Ceanothus crassifolius, also a really beautiful Ceanothus species. Let's see. Now we're coming up into a different area that it did after that bank. And here are a lot more oak trees, a lot more Ceanothus. Ceanothus verrucosus, which comes out from the coast and ends right about where we are here. So we're on the eastern edge of That's Range. And Ceanothus tomatosus, which is the most important Ceanothus species around here. And verrucosus, tomatosus here. This is a bocce ball court, so we play bocce ball. So it's nice to have some open spaces in the middle of nature. And so it's kind of fun to come out here and play bocce ball every once in a while.
Beautiful.
A beautiful Delmar manzanita there. So we're just on the eastern edge of that plant's range as well. And you can see there's a nice oak there, and you can see it's pulling up. By now, the roots for that oak are quite deep. You know, I would guess they're maybe 20 feet or so deep, maybe even more. And because it just gets no direct water, so it's having to search for moisture, and it's pulling moisture up and sharing it with these shallow-rooted sagebrush scrubs sort of plants. So they're healthier all year round and greener all year round.
Beautiful principle to design. Thinking about roots.
Yeah,
and water, nature water.
Kind of the roots and really the mycorrhiza that lives in the roots. So it's very complicated, but they've pretty much proven that California native plants can't survive without this fungus that lives in their roots. It acts as sort of roots extensions to a certain extent, and what it does is it makes the plants about 1,000 times more able to soak up water than they would be without this mycorrhiza. It also prevents the plants from getting diseases. It provides them with critical micronutrients. So you can sort of think that not only you focus on the plant roots, but you also focus on the fungus that lives in the plant roots. It's kind of it's the natural way that nobody knows about, really. You know, I think scientists are just sort of figuring out a lot more every year, but it's the magic that makes it possible for plants to grow in such a arid environment where we get no rain during 8 months of the year. We show some more oaks here, and an olive tree that's one of the originals that I didn't take out. I hate it. I never took out any trees or any big plants that they could survive without any sort of water, and the olive seems to do quite well. A nice little area here. Beautiful big berry manzanita, one of the happiest ones I have on the property, and a Ceanothus leucodermis, scrub oaks, Ceanothus tomatosus, another tomatosus, more big berry manzanitas, and then this is a flannel bush, a Fremontia, also called a Fremontia, and I have an irrigated area where I have non-native plants over there, it's about 11 feet from this plant. So amazingly, really interesting, this plant likes to be 11 feet away from a water source, whether it's a creek or an irrigated area. It pushes its roots out to that water source and gets all the water it needs from that location, but you can't plant it any closer or it will die. But really amazing. You can see all these spent flowers. Just imagine what this looks like in the spring months, and it's truly beautiful, truly amazing. More manzanitas, more Ceanothus. One of my favorites, a mountain mahogany, San Diego mountain mahogany. And there's this other one in the front yard where it's just covered with the seeds, the spiral seeds. More scrub oaks. Ceanothus. Oh yeah, here you can get a picture of these beautiful seeds in the San Diego mountain mahogany.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
look at that.
They look like
beautiful.
a halo.
Yeah.
When they're lit up like this. So there's nothing. I don't know of any plant that's as beautiful as a backlit San Diego mountain mahogany. Yeah, they're just such beautiful forms and such beautiful texture. And this is one of the ponds that I have for filtering the water in the pool through plant roots. And so basically, the pool I converted the pool to a pond. There's no more chlorine in it. There's just water that goes through plant roots, and it's crystal clear. It's as clear as it was when it was a pool. Now there's tons of life in it, so not only plants, but all kinds of fish. I see dragonflies everywhere. I guess it's just coming past that season, but even just a week earlier, dragonflies and monarch butterflies and other butterflies and hatches all over the place. You can see the way this looks here. See how clear the water is? So spiny rushes here, California bulrush. I can't remember the name of that plant. Cattails, southern cattail. And that's a willow, a shining willow right there, and maidenhair ferns. There's all kinds of plants that are kind of growing through there, and you can see all the plants have their roots into the water, and it works amazingly well. But you can see how easy it is to see these fish. They're hoping I will feed them, but I almost never do. You know, once every several months, just to show people. But they just live on the life that exists naturally in this pond, in this pool. The largemouth bass. I'm not sure what they eat. I think there might be still minnows that hide in that plant mass right there.
All right. Well.
That's the backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.